All right, everybody, welcome back to another one of these videos. So today's topic that I'm going to talk about, I haven't uploaded in a minute either, but today's topic I want to talk about is moving on. So I used to think moving on meant forgetting somebody, but it doesn't, because you're always going to think about that significant other that you had, and it doesn't matter how long it was. You're gonna think about it, but there's a difference between thinking about it and letting it control your life, like letting the thoughts control your life, or the spirals. I'm gonna give you guys the story here. So I met somebody on Hinge about around May 11th. I met somebody on Hinge, and their profile basically said, like, they liked my profile first, right? And their profile said, like, long term, like what I value, what I would like to do in a relationship, yada yada yada. And I was like, oh shoot, somebody who actually wants a long term, like, I can finally get out of the dating app world and finally, pursue something serious and get out of the hell that is online dating. Our thing lasts for about 3 days. During those 3 days, like, first 2 days were fine, but then, like, third day it was weird. It was like shutting down on me and not telling me why. I was like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? And that wasn't being communicated. So after those 3 days, she texts me after I get off work one day that she's not interested and that she doesn't think we're a good match. And so, of course, that first time I was devastated, because I was like, damn, I really thought this was gonna be something, and then it's not. And but also, like, I'm not super invested into this at this point either. Like, but I was going to show effort. So she ends things. So then the next 3 days, I'm like processing that. And then 3 days pass again. And then she comes back. Then we have a whole nother 3 day stint where the first 2 days are fine. And then that third day, all of a sudden, it's like switch off, like done, over. And like, there was a lot of like confusing moments and all that too, which I'm not going to dive into, but I was like, what is going on? Like, why is this going the way it is? And I kept looking for answers. I'd overthink. It's not sustainable, So that's basically the story of that. After things ended with that, I thought moving on meant that, I'd stop, like, I need to stop all the thoughts about her. I need closure. I think I need I need answers for, why she's not interested. And I thought, hope was gonna, keep me going, and like maybe eventually hope for the day that she might come back. I don't hope for that, by the way. I don't. But the thing is, with every one of those things, is like those all keep you stuck. The biggest trapper out of all of those, it was the hope. Hope was the biggest thing with this, and goes out to a lot of other people too. Hope is a silent killer. I'm sorry to say that, but it really is. Hope kept me trapped for such a long time. Like, there was a point in the relationship when basically, like, after the last 3 days, like, she basically ghosted me for 5 days, right? And like, I texted her, like, one of the times I was like, hey, would you want to go see a movie with me? And then she's like, I have my friend's birthday. And then like, she was like keeping her answers like real short and stuff. And like, I was just like hoping it's like, oh, well, like, like, hopefully, like, she's okay, and like, everything's all right, and yada, yada, yada. And like I imagine, all the outcomes that can come out of this, and that's honestly another thing too. Imagine like overthinking all the possibilities. You gotta accept the reality of what the situation is. If somebody says that, then they said it, and that's it, and that's that. As simple as not interested, and they won't give you closure, and that's it's not really the fucked up part because you don't need closure, but they'll just do that to you randomly, and then if you've never had that happen to you before, you gotta process that, and that's a really hard thing. But the other thing is I didn't realize that hope was keeping me stuck. I knew hope was keeping me stuck. I've dealt with stuff like this before. I know hope was a killer. I just didn't know how to let it go. The cure isn't finding a perfect answer, but it's time. You have to let time pass. As much as that sucks, you have to be patient. So another way to kill that hope and to be able to process your own emotions without it being interrupted and you going through your waves. What I do, and a lot of people might disagree with me on this, you got to go no contact, because if you keep coming back to this person and then you keep talking to them, it's just going to make you feel worse about yourself. And then you're just going to keep imagining and hoping, and it's no good for you. And also with no contact, that means no checking social media, block all socials, block all numbers, don't pay attention to their stories, and have no idea what they're doing. You don't need to know. And the more you don't know, like the Tame Impala song, the less I know, the better. If you haven't listened to that song, give it a listen. It's a very good song. Eventually, you stop asking what they're doing because you realize you don't actually need to know. So here's the biggest lesson that I learned from this relationship. You cannot reassure somebody out of their own uncertainty. So what I mean by this is basically you can't reassure someone out of their own uncertainty, because when I say that, during this relationship, this person was asking me to reassure them a lot and tell them that I want a future with you, I want to do things with you, I want to do this and this and this, but then they're oh, well, I don't believe it. But you can't reassure somebody out of their own uncertainty. If they're uncertain about it, if they wanted it, then they'll put in the effort, and they'll stick in with it, and they'll put in the communication, and they'll show the excitement and energy that you would expect from a normal relationship. And also explaining yourself to reassure out of their own uncertainty. It's if someone isn't sure, there isn't a perfect sentence that's going to make them sure. So here's what healing actually looks like whenever you go through heartbreak. This one was a lot easier because I've been through so many other ones. This one probably took me about 3 weeks, maybe a month, get over. So, but the thing is healing isn't dramatic. Healing is going about your normal day and keeping up with your normal routines and your normal structures. You still hang out with your friends, you still go out, you go out to bars, maybe you meet a nice person there. Stop using the online dating apps though, they're poisonous. I swear to God, they're the worst thing ever. One thing that I got back into after this is I'm looking into going back into camping and backpacking. I've also been getting back into streaming a little bit recently too. That's another thing, reconnecting with your hobbies and your passions. Breakups are kind of inspiring in a way too, because it's all of a sudden this happened to me, and it's oh, all of a sudden I want to do all these hobbies again. It's I don't fuck that. That shit sucks. But I want to go camping. I'm starting to stream again, and I'm living my life again. I'm hanging out with people, and I'm keeping the connections that I want to keep close. And it's just your normal life slowly comes back day to day. So here's the truth about closure. You stop looking for explanations. You stop hoping. You stop overthinking all of the possibilities and outcomes, and you just accept that you're not going to know everything. You're not. And the closure comes from the acceptance and not another conversation with that person. Moving on isn't forgetting somebody. You can't forget everything unless you have dementia. And you can still think about someone and you can be sad about somebody, but just know that you can't let it control your life. You can't miss what you imagined. You're not moving on because you stopped caring. You're moving on because your own life became bigger than your heartbreak. If you're waiting for them to come back before you can start living again, don't. Your life didn't end when the relationship did. It just became your responsibility again.